Hi everyone, welcome to the Design System series, learning how to create a design system, and we're in part 5, button components. Let's get started. Okay, let's learn to create a button component as well as their variants and modes for different states and sizing. So we already have a button component set up here, but I'm going to walk you through how you can create this on your own. So first, we've already detached this component here, and we're going to start creating the component set by clicking Option Command K to create the component, and then clicking up here in the design panel to add a variant. We're going to start the first one without an icon, and we're going to call this icon none. The second one is going to be icon left, and then we're going to create a third button with the icon right. And then lastly, we're going to do a circular button, and what we're going to do here is apply the height of button size of 48, and we're going to apply the same height of button size 48 here. We're going to get rid of the text, and therefore only the icon remains, and we're just going to call this icon center. So we have the 4 buttons already created for our component set, and then we want to create the secondary buttons that are shown here as well. So in order to do that, you go back up to your properties panel, and we're going to create a new variant, and we're going to call this secondary. We're going to create that property, and the way that this is set up is type secondary. So we're going to just mimic that, and over here we're going to rename this to type, rename this to secondary, and now we'll select the top 4, and the type will be renamed to primary. And now we're going to change this to the button states secondary, and we're going to change the button color text here. So now you can continue to do the same thing for the other 3 variants as I've shown you here, but to continue the process, I'll just show you how to set up modes as well for the sizing and the states. And when you go into your variables panel, you can see under component size the different sizes we've already added, and we're going to go into button size, and we have this already set up for large, medium, and small, therefore not having to create additional sizes or additional variants for your sizes. We just have that already set up, and then you want to make sure it's applied here. And as you can see, we have applied the button size already. So now when you take out an instance of this, when you go into your appearance panel, you can go to your drop down here and see the component size theme, and you can swap between large, medium, and small. And then we also want to test out how that looks like with your icon, and you can see that changes, and the icon size changes along with it because the icon is also set up to have its own icon size mode. And then in order to change the states, we have for default, hover, and disabled, which are already set up here under button states primary. We have those 3 colors set up for those 3 states. You want to make sure in your component panel you set your fill to that state. So now on your instance you can swap between the different states from default to hover and disabled, making it super easy to create your button components and your modes and seeing it all work together. Now that we've set up our button components, let's set up our prototype so we can see this in action. If you go over here to the right side panel and click into prototype, you'll see these little icons pop up, and now we can set up our interactions. These components have the interactions already set up, so I'm just going to walk you through how to create those interactions. We'll have 3, one for hover, one for press, and one for mouse leave. In the hover interaction, you want to make sure that the trigger is set to while hovering, that your action is set to variable mode, and that the collection is set to button states primary, and that the mode is set to hover. And then for your press, you'll also have the trigger, but we'll set it to while pressing. The action is set to variable mode, the collection is again button states primary, and the mode is set back to default. And lastly, we'll have the mouse leave interaction that allows us to repeat this within the prototype, and then the last 2, action and collection, are the same, as well as mode is back to default. So now when we go over here and we click into our frame and click Shift Space to view it in action, we'll see that when we hover over, it's in the hover state, and then when we click, it goes back to the click state. Just that simple interaction through what we've just created. You can do the same here, scroll down, and then hover and then click, and you'll see those interactions are made with variable modes, and this is really convenient because we won't have to create those prototype interactions everywhere that it exists within the design, but just in one place at the component level.